Hey there, welcome to my channel. I'm glad you're here. Today's journey is going to come from the crops section of crafts, critters, crops, and homesteading hobbies because we're going to be making strawberry jam. First thing you need to do is prepare your supplies. In order to do this, the first step is to take your flats and cover them with water. So now we're going to turn our stovetop onto low heat and put our water-covered jar flats on top. Now that your jars have been washed and dried thoroughly, it's time to put them in your water bath canner. Now you're going to be covering these with 2 inches of water, so a trick is to fill them at least half full of water before you cover them to keep them from floating around and possibly breaking. On the stove they go. Since we're making jam, we need to prepare our strawberries by mashing them up. This recipe calls for 5 cups of mashed strawberries. The next step you want to do is measure out the exact amount of sugar needed. My recipe that I'm making today calls for 7 cups, and then set it aside. However, while you do this, make sure you do not reduce the amount of sugar since it will result in setting failure. So now that you have all of your ingredients measured out, it's time to place your strawberries on the stove to heat. Look at those strawberries. They look really good. So let's give it a quick stir. Yep, looking good. So now I'm going to stir in 1 package of Sure Gel. Now, you don't have to use Sure Gel because there are many recipes out there that don't call for it. However, today I am going to use some. You want to make sure it gets mixed in really good. Once your Sure Gel has been thoroughly mixed in, you want to bring your mixture to a full rolling boil, which means it won't stop bubbling when stirred. And you only need to stir occasionally during this time. It's getting closer. You can see how the jam has expanded in size, and if you're not careful, it will overflow. You can also see that as I'm stirring, the bubbling hasn't stopped, so we know that it is at a full rolling boil. So the next step is to pour your sugar into your jam. Now at this step, you're going to bring it back to a full rolling boil for exactly 1 minute. You also want to stir constantly at this stage to make sure your sugar gets thoroughly dissolved into your strawberries. You can tell that it's really going now. It's been boiling now for the second time for about 1 minute. Now it's time to skim the foam from the top of your jam using a metal spoon or cooking utensil. Be sure to save this because you can eat it on toast and it's really good. Once you've removed as much of the foam as you can, give it a quick stir. And now you're ready to begin filling your jars. So all you want to do is just reach in, get a hold of your jar, and pour the water out. Be careful not to splash yourself because it's very, very hot. Take your jar and set it on whatever type of placemat you have on your surface, because you do not want your hot jar touching a cold surface, otherwise it'll break. So now that all of your jars are out of the canner, it's time to begin filling. I've already done 2, but I want to do at least 1 on camera to show you how it's done. First thing you do is take your funnel and place it in the mouth of your jar. Then get a dipper full of jam. I like to stir just a little bit in between each dip. Only put enough jam into the jar to bring it up to the bottom edge of your funnel. That'll leave you about a 1-inch headspace. When that's done, take your magnet and pull a flat out of your water. Clean it and the rim of your jar with vinegar and water. Set the flat in place and add your ring. I use a cloth to keep from burning my hand when I'm holding the jar to put the ring on. Set it in the back to wait for the next step. Once your jars have been filled with jam, it's time to put them back into the water bath canner. For us, it's about 15 to 20 minutes, but you'll have to check on your altitude chart. Now we gotta wait and set our timer. And go ahead and pour about 1/4 of a cup of vinegar into your water if you have hard water to keep your jars from clouding as they cool. Time's up! So now we're ready to take our jars out of the water bath canner. Set them on a towel or a placemat and make sure your jars do not touch each other. Once you have all your jars set out, do not touch them for 24 hours. But if you listen to your jars, you'll hear the seals go ding. And there we have it, strawberry jam. Look at how pretty our jars are. Now I can't touch these right now, but you remember that foam I said not to throw away? Some of it's on that biscuit, and I'm gonna try it. This is delicious. You should really try and make some. So my jars came with these pretty little labels. So the last step is to Put them on our jar. Then store them away with the rings off. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and that you will like and subscribe down below. I also hope that you will make your own strawberry jam, because I and my dad, who's already eaten at least 3 jars, can attest that it is good stuff.